I made a video a while back called, I don't even know. It was about how to lose weight. I've learned a lot more since then, and I still think everything in that video stands true. But some people might want a more direct approach to losing fat specifically. Specifically, I always struggle a little to say that word. And to lose fat is honestly like the easiest shit in the world. But the health industry has made it very convoluted to figure it out. And they've done this through marketing, spreading like little myths and lies to confuse people. There's also just a lack of education around nutrition unless you yourself decide to like take that step yourself. And even then, usually, that the materials used to educate a person has been created by who? The healthcare industry, if you're going through a more traditional route such as college. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with losing fat and what I think one should do if that's all they're trying to do. Like if you have a wedding in 3 months and you're trying to lose fat, here's what I would do: is stop eating fat. It's really that simple. It is really that simple. You don't eat any fat. However, the convoluted part is the education around what is fat and the myths about protein that I think get in most people's way of losing fat and why they struggle and then ultimately give up. Right now, I don't know what the hell this is, because when I was growing up, I never heard about fucking protein. Like, I honestly, that word gives me like a little shiver of disgust. I'm so sick of hearing about it. It is hyped up, and honestly, the body makes its own protein. You do not need to eat a cow, a pig, or a chicken to get protein. You just need to eat a variety of foods that have a variety of amino acids, and then your body will use that in order to create proteins, just like the cow's body does, just like the chicken's body does. Like those proteins that you're eating anyways have been created for that animal, not your body. So when you consume it, you're causing a lot of gut issues, but that's not this video. So back to the fat loss part. So most people, or I won't say most. So a lot of people are super concerned with protein that, they stack their plate up with, I don't even know how many grams, like 50, 80 grams, whatever the fuck it is these days that you need. But oftentimes a lot of these high protein foods are also high fat. You think you're eating in a way that's healthy, that's going to support fat loss, but you're not, because coupled with that high protein is high fat. To throw some things out that people don't commonly think of as high fat is meat. Meat is fat. That's hella high fat. And it's high protein though, so it makes it onto the plate like every freaking time. Eggs, dairy, high fat. Oats, high fat. Nuts and seeds, which I feel like most people are aware of, high fat. Soy, high fat. You see where I'm going with this? Like, these are foods that I feel like, or at least in my experience, that I feel like people skim over. Like, it's very clear that, honey buns and, I don't know, cinnamon buns, Rice Krispie treats are high fat, and, you should cut those out when you're trying to lose fat. But what I don't feel like is clear is those foods I just mentioned. And beans too. Beans are another like sneaky. They're high protein, but they're also high fat. So, but just simply cutting out all those fatty ass foods, you'll drop weight like it's nothing. It'll really be so easy. It'll be so simple. You just cut out fat. And before y'all start freaking out, like, well, what about my protein? Well, what about my fats? I don't want to get too skinny. At any point, for one, you can just add it back in. Whenever you've decided, I like my weight, I'm going to add some fats back in. But do realize, like, you are what you eat. But there's fats in fruits and there's fats in vegetables. So you're not going to go without fats. Like, you can't be entirely fat-free. It's just not possible, to my knowledge, at least if you're eating. And as for protein, again, we spoke about this. You can get protein from your fruits, from your vegetables. If you want to keep in fillers like rice, there's proteins in there. Okay? Like, again, if you're going for fat loss, usually this might be a diet and not necessarily a lifestyle. So take my advice with the understanding that this is something you're trying to do temporarily, and this isn't a lifestyle that you're trying to switch to. Now, if you're trying to switch to, a lifestyle that promotes you keeping whatever your goal weight is for the rest of your life, my suggestion would not be to just drop all these high fat foods immediately. Like, you definitely want to do that, slow and controlled, get used to it. Like, figure out where you're attached to food and see what you need to let go, and figure out new meals that you like that are low in fat. Like, don't just drop your old diet and pick up a new one. Like, I feel like that's a good way to fail, because you haven't figured out replacement meals. It's shocking to the body. You probably haven't worked on emotional attachments to foods in your previous diet. So then you're going to go back and, lose any progress that you might have made. And one of the benefits, too, of eating low-fat foods, if, they're primarily fruits and veggies, because I know hunger is something people often struggle with when they switch diets or even lifestyles, is you can eat as much as you want. Like, now, obviously, again, grain of salt, like, don't go eat an entire, like, Costco box of bananas. That's just too much. But, like, eat until you're satiated, right? Like, you don't have to calorie count when you eat this way, because it's not about the calories. The calories are smoke and mirrors. They're just little words on the package to keep you focused on shit that doesn't matter. If you really want to look at something, look at the ingredients. And don't forget, like, the biggest fat of them all is oil. Stay the fuck away from that shit. When you really think about it, in what context in the wild would you ever crush so many avocado seeds that you would have like 4 tablespoons of that shit mixed within a meal? You just wouldn't. And that is an easy cut to make if you're trying to lose fat. Stop using oil. You don't need oil. Like, you just don't. You don't need to be frying nothing. You don't need to, like, slick the pan up with that. You can use water. Water works the same. We've been doing it. Your food doesn't get crusted. Like, get you a little ceramic pan or whatever the hell the latest crave is for pans, and you'll be all right. So an example I often see is, like, a healthy meal, right, would be like the eggs, avocado, and some form of meat. And they're like, this is super healthy, healthy fats, blah, 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 high protein. But that whole entire plate is a plate of fat. Yeah, that's high protein. The eggs are high protein. The meat is high protein. But it's a plate of fat. You're eating an entire plate of fat and then wondering why you're fat. Instead, have like a plate of steamed potatoes. Get you some steamed Brussels sprouts. Add some fruit, some berries. Those are great for the brain. You can do like some blueberries, some raspberries, some strawberries. Drizzle some honey on there. Like, you can eat, if you want to, like, cook up your potatoes in a pan, add some onions, add some seasonings to them. They don't have to be steamed. That's just how I prefer them. Like, that plate, for one, is going to fuel you far better than that other one. That other one is going to have you feeling like you need to take a nap after because it's high fat. It takes more energy for the body to break down. So you have less energy to do what you want. You're going to be putting more of that energy to breaking your meal down. This plate of veggies and fruit is going to leave you feeling fueled. It's less dense foods. You don't take as much energy to break down the food. So you still have lots of energy to go towards what you actually want to do. And if cutting out all fats is like just really too much, add some lentils, keep it like add some oats, but make it like a fourth of the meal. Don't make it the entirety of the meal. Focused on, the fruits and the veggies. And one thing that I think I just got to plug that I feel like escapes people is their salad dressings. You think you're doing so well with the salad, and you might be, right? But when you dress it up in oily, fatty vinegar, and usually there's all sorts of extra preservatives, chemicals, and dyes and whatnot in there. You destroy your beautiful raw salad. Like, if you want a fatty salad dressing, then make it yourself. Like, if that's what you want your meal to be, get some tahini, get lemon juice instead of vinegar, and put your seasonings in there, chop them up fresh. You can create a real simple, delicious dressing in like 3 minutes or less. Honestly, you could probably do a minute, but if it's your first time, it might take you a little bit to play around with the ingredients and figure what works for your taste buds. All right, I really just wanted to keep this high level and simple. If you're trying to lose fat, stop eating fat. It's really that simple. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. If you would like me to elaborate on anything, I love talking nutrition because it helped me so much. Before this, I was 185 pounds. I had ADHD. I had sleep apnea. I had no energy to do anything. I was depressed. I didn't want to be here. And simply changing my lifestyle as it pertains to nutrition did a whole 180 for me. And I want to help other people do the same because there's no reason to live like that. That shit is miserable. So join me on this happy ass train. Much love and happy healing.